Hello and welcome to another DeNami design video. My name is Paulina and I'm going to be showing you today how to create a card from start to finish. Here is the card that we're going to be creating. As you can see, it's just a really sweet Christmas card. We've used our large ornament from our July release and we stamped our own polka dot and flower background on it. So I'm going to show you how to create the card. First off, we're going to be using a piece of brown craft cardstock. I've just folded it in half to create an A2 size card. And we're going to be stamping a polka dot background all across this panel. So I'm just going to lay down a piece of scratch piece of paper. And we're going to be stamping the medium polka dots. And we're going to be using this vintage sepia VersaFine ink. So for the larger stamps, I like to lay them down and then just cover them with the ink so I can make sure it's evenly covered. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. You're just going to want to make sure you press nice and firm. And the great thing about this stamp is it's cut out in a way where you can easily see where the polka dots are so you can line them up so it's one nice long continuous polka dot background. So I'm just going to line up the dots. Oops. And we're going to do that last stamp. Again, we're going to do the same thing, just line up the dots. Okay, perfect. So here is our polka dot background. And next we're going to be using a piece of white cardstock. So I have this piece, it's already cut down to 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. And we're going to be using the Spanish Moss VersaFine ink. And this is quickly becoming one of my favorites. It's just this really nice mossy color. And just really fresh kind of a green. I'm going to be stamping the small pine sprig and we're going to stamp that across the top. I'm just going to rotate the stamp so it looks like one nice full sprig. And this is going to be where our ornament hangs from. And if you wanted to add a little bit more to make it more full of a sprig, you just stamp right on top of the ones you've already done. Okay, so here's our sprig panel. You can see it's just a really nice mossy kind of a green. And then I will be setting this aside, and we've already pre-stamped this large ornament in the vintage sepia ink. And I'm going to, let's see, let me grab my panel here, and we're going to be stamping the whimsical flowers. And we're going to be using this leaf stamp and this flower stamp here. Okay, we're going to be using the vintage sepia once again. I'm going to stamp my flowers first, and I'm just going to stamp them sporadically across this ornament. And it's okay if it's outside the lines because we will be cutting out this ornament. I'm just going to set that aside, and then we're going to do the leaves. So I'm just going to do it up against some of the flowers here. This is just going to add some more color when we add the markers in it. So here's that. So I'm going to set those aside, and then now we're going to grab the smaller polka dot background. And this one is just the N133 polka dot background. And we're going to be using the Spanish Moss once again. I'm just going to cover the whole stamp. We're just going to add that right on top of the designs we did. It's just going to add some polka dots, it's going to add some color, and it's just going to look really great when we have our completed card. So next we're going to actually color our image. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. And I'm going to be using Tombow markers for this card. So I have here my 133, my 173, which is the two shades of green, and then I have a 703 and a 723. So we have two shades of green and two shades of pink. I'm going to go with the lighter of the two pinks first. I'm just going to color in all the flowers. Okay, and now we're going to get the brighter of the two pinks. We're just going to go around the edges and the middle of all the flowers here. And I really love this pink. It's just really fresh and fun. It's going to brighten up the card a lot. Okay, now we're going to grab the lighter of the two greens and do the same thing. We're just going to go across all the leaves. Then the edges, we're going to do the brighter green. It's just going to be a really fresh, fun ornament. Okay, now we're going to set those aside and we're going to actually cut out the ornament. So I'm just going to go up against the stamped ornament as closely as I can. Okay, so here's our ornament. And next we're going to grab our panel, our Pinesburg panel. And I'm going to figure out where exactly I want to place my ornament. So zoom out here. And so I'm going to just try to do it centered. And you're going to want to make it a little bit higher than the middle just so you can add your sentiment. And for this one, I'm going to be using the new Christmas Wishes, and I'm going to be stamping the Vintage Sepia VersaFine ink. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And then now I'm going to create the line for my ornament. So I just need to figure out where I'm going to place it, and then you're just going to want to get a ruler, and then I'm going to use some brown pen because it's going to match the ornament. I'm just going to create a line so it's nice and straight, and it's okay if it's a little to the left or to the right because people are really going to be looking at the ornament. Okay, so now I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back of the ornament. This is going to add some dimension. It's going to just really bring focus to this really cute flower focal point. It's going to just, and then we're going to mount this panel to a piece of chocolate brown cardstock. This one is 3 1/4 by 4 3/8. I'm going to just adhere them with my ATG dispenser, which if you don't have one is the best investment you can have. It's nice and very handy. So I'm just going to add this panel, we're going to center it. Okay, and now we're going to grab our brown craft piece of cardstock we did at the beginning. And then we have here a piece of magenta cardstock. I've already pre-cut to 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. And this is just going to go on the outside of the card. It's just going to bring some color. It's going to bring that pink in from the flowers. It's just going to liven it up a little bit more. So you're just going to do it off to the side. You don't want to do it in the middle because we're going to be adding this panel to the middle. So I'm going to use some more foam adhesive. And the reason I like to add the foam is just it really adds some more texture to the card where it's not just one flat piece of paper. There's lots of dimension on my cards. Okay, so I'm just going to add this panel here. Okay, and now we're going to add some glitter. So I'm going to use my Quickie glue pen, and we're just going to go across all the flowers. So I'm just going to go around the edges of the flowers, similar to where we put the hot pink marker. And then we're going to use our magenta glitter. Just going to sprinkle that just right on top. Then we're going to just pour it onto this scrap piece of cardstock and tap off the excess. Okay, so here is the ornament. And then lastly, we just need to grab a chocolate brown grosgrain 3/8 with ribbon. So I just already created a little bow. I'm going to be using my ATG, just going right against the bow, and that's going to add our adhesive here. See here? And then we're just going to add the bow right to our ornament. It's going to be just right below where the hanging part of the ornament is. And it's just going to add just a little more sweetness to the card and a little more texture. So there is our card from start to finish. As you can see, it didn't take very much time, and it's going to be really quick if you mass produce. If you wanted to do one day, you just stamp all the ornaments, and the next day you cut all the panels. It can be really quick, and it is so sweet. It's perfect if you want to get your kids involved in helping. One of them can be doing the bows or the coloring. And you can also just change out the colors of the flowers. If you're not a big pink fan, you can add purple flowers instead and do a purple panel here. Or if you wanted yellow or orange or red, any of those colors would work great with this card. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have suggestions for other videos, feel free to leave them on the DeNami blog. You can send us an email or write us on the DeNami Facebook page. We love hearing from each one of you, and we thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.